The reels blur together as the screen suddenly fills with color, motion, and sound. Coins cascade across the display, animations stack on top of one another, and the music swells until it cuts cleanly through the noise of the casino floor. For a few seconds, the game takes over completely, pulling your attention inward while everything else fades into the background. Then the balance stops climbing. The celebration doesn't end, but it changes. The machine shifts into a mode you've probably never paid attention to before, flashing notifications and looping animations, while a nearby player glances over and a slot attendant begins moving in your direction, already reaching for a radio. What you don't see is what's happening beyond the screen. Cameras subtly adjust their focus. Systems update in real time. Information is being pulled, logged, and evaluated elsewhere in the building before you've even had time to process what just happened. According to former slot technicians and casino staff, the moment a modern slot triggers a jackpot, the casino enters a different operational state, one where multiple departments are alerted automatically, and quiet decisions begin forming around your win. And this is the detail that changes how you should think about jackpots entirely. That celebration isn't designed only to reward you, it's designed to manage the moment. So the real question isn't whether you won, it's whether you won or whether the system just switched on around you. See, when that machine locks up and displays your big win, there's already someone watching you, not just the floor attendant who's walking over with a smile. Former employees revealed that within seconds of your jackpot hit, multiple systems have already flagged your win, your player's card data has been pulled up, and decisions are being made about you that could affect everything from how fast you get paid to what offers you'll receive in the future. We're talking about a coordinated response that involves at least 5 different departments, all working simultaneously, all gathering information, all making assessments that you'll never be directly told about. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's start with what happens in those first 10 seconds, because this is where it gets interesting. The moment you hit a jackpot over a certain amount, which varies by state but is typically anything over $1,200, the machine automatically locks itself. You can't play, you can't cash out, you can't do anything. Reports from former technicians show that this lockup isn't just about verifying your win, it's about control. The casino needs time to do several things simultaneously, and some of these things have nothing to do with paying you. This lockup mechanism was specifically designed not just as a security feature, but as a data collection opportunity. Every second that machine is locked, information is being transmitted, analyzed, and recorded. First thing that happens, your win gets transmitted to multiple departments at once. Security receives an alert, surveillance gets notified, the slot tech team sees it pop up on their system, compliance gets a flag, even marketing databases get pinged with your information. According to insiders who worked in the surveillance rooms, your face is being captured by at least 3 different camera angles within seconds. They're recording everything: your reaction, who you're with, how you're celebrating, whether you look surprised or like you expected it. Former surveillance operators explained that they're specifically trained to watch for what they call anomaly indicators, vague signs that something about this win doesn't fit normal patterns. Did you hit the button and immediately look up at the cameras? Did you seem to know exactly when the jackpot would hit? Are you exchanging glances with anyone else in the casino? All of this gets noted in real time. Now here's something most players never think about. Former slot technicians revealed that while you're sitting there waiting for someone to come verify your win, the casino system is already running checks on you. If you used a player's card, they're looking at your play history right now. How long have you been playing? How much money have you put into machines today? This week? This month? What's your average bet size? Have you hit jackpots before? How many? How often? They're building a profile of you in real time, comparing your activity to patterns they've seen from thousands of other players. They're looking at how your play session today compares to your historical averages. Did you suddenly start betting higher amounts right before this jackpot? That's flagged. Have you been playing for less than an hour but hit a major win? That's noted. Are you a first-time visitor who somehow hit big on one of the tightest machines in the casino? That definitely gets scrutinized. But they're also checking something else that's going to blow your mind. Statements from ex-employees show that casinos track what they call your theoretical loss versus your actual loss. Basically, based on the math, Behind the games and how much you've been betting, the casino knows roughly how much you should have lost by now. If you're way below that number, meaning you've been winning more than the math says you should, you just moved up on their watch list. This doesn't mean you've done anything wrong, but it does mean the casino is going to pay closer attention to you, your play patterns, and whether you're somehow exploiting a vulnerability they haven't identified yet. Former analytics staff explained that their systems can calculate theoretical loss in real time with remarkable accuracy. They know that if you've been betting $20 a spin on a machine with a 93% return to player rate for 2 hours, you should have lost approximately a certain amount. If you're significantly outside that range, algorithms flag it for human review. Now, while all this digital stuff is happening in the background, there's an actual human being walking toward you. This is usually a slot attendant or floor supervisor. They're smiling, they're congratulating you, they seem genuinely happy for you. And you know what? Some of them actually are. But according to reports from former floor staff, they're also doing something else. They're evaluating you, they're trained to notice specific things. Are you alone or with other people? Do you seem intoxicated? Are you acting suspicious in any way? Do you have any visible tattoos or characteristics that might help identify you later? Are you wearing expensive jewelry or clothes that suggest you're a high roller, or do you look like someone who doesn't usually gamble much? All of this information gets noted, either mentally or sometimes literally written down in their reports. Former floor supervisors explained that they're trained in what casinos call customer profiling, which is essentially the art of reading people quickly and accurately. They're looking at your body language. Are you making eye contact? Are your hands shaking? Are you sweating despite the casino's air conditioning? Do you seem nervous in a way that goes beyond normal excitement? They're also watching how you interact with your phone. Are you immediately calling someone? Are you taking photos or videos? Are you posting on social media? All of these behaviors provide data points that help the casino understand who you are and how to market to you, or in rare cases, whether you might be trying to scam them. Here's where it gets even more interesting. Former employees revealed that the speed at which you get paid isn't always the same for everyone. If you're a known regular player with a solid history at that casino, your jackpot gets processed faster, sometimes significantly faster. The system already knows you. You're in their database as a reliable customer. Your identity has been verified multiple times before. Your payment methods are on file. Your tax information is already in their system from previous wins. But if you're a new face or if something seems off about your win, suddenly there are more verification steps that need to happen. Former slot directors explained that this isn't officially policy. Casinos would never admit to deliberately slowing down payouts for certain players, but it absolutely happens in practice. Staff members have discretion in how quickly they move through the verification process. And that discretion gets influenced by what the casino's systems are telling them about you. Let me explain what those verification steps actually look like, because this is something casinos definitely don't advertise. First, the slot technician has to physically come to your machine. They're not just there to hand you money. Reports suggest they're checking the machine itself. They're looking at error logs. They're verifying that the machine was functioning correctly when you won. They're making sure there were no malfunctions, no glitches, nothing that would indicate the win wasn't legitimate. Former technicians described this process in detail. They're accessing diagnostic menus that regular players never see. They're reviewing the last 100 spins to make sure the random number generator was functioning within normal parameters. They're checking that the machine's software version matches what's registered with gaming regulators. They're verifying that no one has tampered with the machine's internals. They're confirming that the pay line you hit actually corresponds to a legitimate winning combination according to the machine's pay table. All of this happens while you're sitting there, and it typically takes at least several minutes even when everything is perfectly fine. Now, you might be thinking, why would they need to check if the win is legitimate? You hit the button, the symbols lined up, you won. Simple, right? Wrong. According to former technicians who worked specifically with slot machines, there are dozens of ways a machine can malfunction that might display a jackpot that isn't real. The software could glitch. The random number generator could have an error. The display could show one thing while the actual internal result was something different. Physical problems like loose connections or failing display components can create false jackpot indicators. Power fluctuations can corrupt the machine's memory. Software bugs that only emerge under specific conditions can cause erroneous payouts. And in those cases, the casino doesn't have to pay you. Every slot machine has a sticker or printed notice somewhere that says, "Malfunction voids all pays and plays," and that's not just legal boilerplate, it's actively enforced. Former gaming regulators explained that malfunction disputes are actually more common than most people realize, and the casino wins virtually every one of them because the law clearly states that they're only obligated to pay out wins that result from properly functioning equipment. But here's the thing that former employees really emphasized. Even when the machine is working perfectly fine and your win is completely legitimate, the casino is still looking for any possible reason to delay or complicate your payout. Not because they don't want to pay you, they're legally required to pay legitimate wins, but because delays serve multiple purposes that benefit them. Think about it. You're sitting there, high on adrenaline from your big win, waiting for your money. What are you surrounded by? Other slot machines, other games, other opportunities for the casino to make money. Former floor supervisors revealed that casinos are fully aware that the longer you wait for your jackpot payout, the more likely you are to look around, get bored, and think about playing something else with some of that money once you finally get it. Casino psychologists have studied this phenomenon extensively. They know that the excitement and impatience of waiting can override rational decision-making. They know that players often overestimate their luck after a big win. They know that the money hasn't quite become real yet in your mind. It's still abstract, still just numbers on a screen, which makes it easier to risk. Former casino managers admitted that some casinos deliberately staff their slot attendant teams leanly enough that response times to jackpots are slower during peak hours, maximizing this effect. They'll never openly acknowledge this strategy, but multiple former employees from different casinos confirmed it independently. But there's another reason for delays that's even more calculated. According to insiders who worked in casino management, when a jackpot hits and there's a crowd gathering to watch and congratulate you, that's free advertising for the casino. Other players see someone winning big, they hear the music, they see the lights, they see slot attendants bringing paperwork and eventually cash or a check. What does that do? It makes other players think, that could be me. That person just won. Maybe this is a lucky casino. Maybe I should keep playing. Maybe I should bet more. Behavioral economists who have studied casino environments confirmed that visible wins significantly influence nearby players' behavior. People increase their bet sizes. They play for longer sessions. They're more willing to try machines they were previously ignoring. The effect is measurable and substantial. Statements from ex-employees show that casinos actually encourage their staff to make a bit of a production out of jackpot wins, especially on the main casino floor where the most foot traffic happens. The longer you're sitting there, visible, celebrating, waiting for your payout, the better it is for their business. You're literally a marketing tool and you don't even realize it. Some casinos even have specific protocols about this. Former floor managers described how they were instructed to keep jackpot winners on the main floor whenever possible, to take their time with paperwork, to engage in friendly conversation that extends the process, to make sure the celebration is visible and audible to as many other players as possible. In some cases, casinos will even announce major jackpots over their PA system or display them on digital screens throughout the property, specifically to create this marketing effect. Now let's talk about the paperwork, because this is where things get really invasive. For any jackpot over $1,200 in most jurisdictions, you're required to fill out tax forms, specifically a W-2G form. This means you need to provide your social security number, your full legal name, your address, and sign documents acknowledging that this win will be reported to the IRS. This threshold isn't arbitrary. It's set by federal tax law, and casinos have no discretion in enforcing it. Former compliance officers explain that the $1,200 threshold hasn't been adjusted for inflation since it was established decades ago, which means it captures far more wins now than it was originally intended to. What might have been reserved for truly significant jackpots in the past now includes relatively modest wins that happen fairly frequently. Former employees revealed that this is also when the casino is checking for other things. Do you have any outstanding markers, which are basically casino credit debts? Do you owe them money from previous visits? If you do, They can and will deduct what you owe from your jackpot before paying you the rest. This often comes as a shock to players who forgot about or were avoiding their outstanding debts. The casino's system automatically flags this the moment your identification is entered. Are there any legal holds on your identity? Any warrants? Any reasons you might be flagged in their system? All of this gets checked while you're sitting there filling out forms. Former security personnel explained that casinos have direct access to databases that can reveal outstanding warrants, court orders, judgments, and other legal issues tied to your identity. They're required to cooperate with law enforcement, and a jackpot win is one of the moments when they're most likely to discover and act on such information. But here's something that's going to make you uncomfortable. According to reports from former compliance officers, casinos are also required to watch for suspicious activity under federal anti-money laundering laws. If you hit a big jackpot and you're not a regular player, or if you've been moving large amounts of cash in and out of the casino, or if there's anything about your behavior or history that seems unusual, you might trigger what's called a suspicious activity report. And you'll never know it happened. These reports are governed by the Bank Secrecy Act and related regulations, which means casinos are legally obligated to file them in certain circumstances. The threshold for what triggers these reports is deliberately vague. If something seems suspicious, that's enough. Former compliance officers described feeling pressured to file these reports even when they personally didn't think anything criminal was occurring, simply because the legal liability for not filing when they should have was too severe. These reports go to federal authorities. They're confidential. The casino staff can't tell you that they filed one, but former employees stated that these reports are filed more often than most people think, and hitting a jackpot is one of the triggers that makes casinos look closer at your overall activity. The reports include detailed information about you, your transactions, your behavior, and why the casino found you suspicious. They're shared with FinCEN, the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, which is part of the Treasury Department. From there, they can be accessed by various federal law enforcement agencies. You have no right to know if a report was filed about you, no way to contest it, and no means of having it removed from federal databases even if it was filed in error. Now, assuming everything checks out and you're getting your money, here's what happens next. For jackpots under a certain amount, usually around $10,000 depending on the casino, you'll typically get paid in cash right there on the floor. A slot attendant will count out your money in front of you, have you verify the amount, and then you sign a receipt. This cash payment process is actually more complicated than it appears. Former slot attendants explained that they're trained in specific counting procedures designed to minimize errors and disputes. They count the money twice, often in different denominations, to reduce counting mistakes. They lay it out visibly so surveillance cameras can clearly record the entire transaction. They ask you to count it yourself before signing anything. All of this creates a paper trail and video record that protects both you and the casino. But former slot attendants revealed something about this process that most players don't notice. While they're counting out your cash, they're also watching how you react to it. Are you carefully recounting every bill? Are you immediately stuffing it in your pockets? Are you looking around nervously? Are you asking questions about how to carry this much cash safely? All of these reactions tell the casinos something about your experience level and your comfort with money. Someone who's won before, who gambles regularly with significant amounts, handles $5,000 in cash very differently than someone for whom this is a life-changing amount of money. The casino is reading these cues and using them to refine their profile of you. Are you a sophisticated gambler who sees this as a nice win but nothing extraordinary? Or are you someone for whom this represents a substantial windfall? This distinction matters because it affects how they'll market to you going forward. High rollers get different offers than casual players, and your behavior during payout helps them categorize you. For larger jackpots, you're not getting cash on the floor, you're getting escorted to the casino cage, which is basically their bank area. And according to insiders who worked in casino security, this escort isn't just about helping you find your way, it's about security and observation. They're making sure you get to the cage safely, but they're also continuing to evaluate you. How are you acting? Are you on your phone telling people about your win? Are you drawing attention to yourself? Are you being followed by anyone who might have seen you win? Former security officers explained that they're trained to spot surveillance. They're looking for anyone who seems to be tracking your movements. They're checking for accomplices who might be coordinating with you. They're assessing whether you might be a target for theft, either inside the casino or once you leave the property. This escort serves a dual purpose. It protects you from external threats, but it also ensures the casino maintains eyes on you and your money until the transaction is complete. Here's something former security personnel emphasized that players really need to understand. The moment you hit a big jackpot, you became a target, not from the casino, but from other people. Criminals who hang around casinos specifically look for jackpot winners. They watch for the celebrations, the payouts, the people walking around with large amounts of cash or high-value chips. Reports suggest that casinos know this happens, and while they provide some level of security, once you leave their property, you're on your own. Former security directors described organized theft rings that operate near casinos, sometimes even inside them. These criminals are sophisticated, they work in teams, they follow winners to parking lots, hotels, even to their homes. They use lookouts, communication systems, and sometimes violence. Casinos are aware of this threat, but their liability ends at their property line. Once you step outside, you're responsible for your own security. This is why many experienced players, according to statements from former casino hosts, will request a check instead of cash for large wins. It's safer, it's easier to carry, and it can't be physically stolen as easily. But here's what most players don't know about casino checks. They're not always processed immediately by your bank. Former casino finance workers revealed that when you deposit a large casino check, your bank might put a hold on it for several days while they verify the funds. This is particularly common for checks over $10,000. During that time, you can't access your winnings. The money exists on paper, but it's not actually available to you yet. Banks do this because casino checks are considered higher risk. They want to make sure the funds are actually available and that there's no dispute about the win before they release the money to you. And in rare cases, if there's any dispute about the win after you've already been paid, the casino can put a stop payment on that check. It doesn't happen often, but according to insiders, it does happen. Usually this occurs when new information comes to light after the initial payout. Evidence of machine malfunction that wasn't caught initially, suspicion of fraud that requires further investigation, or discovery that you had outstanding debts to the casino that should have been deducted from your win. When this happens, you're suddenly in a legal limbo where you thought you had won money, your bank might have even temporarily credited your account, but now the check is being reversed and you may find yourself in a dispute with both the casino and your bank. Now let's talk about what happens after you get your money and leave. This is the part that nobody warns you about. Your information is now permanently in that casino's database as a jackpot winner. And that database is connected to a much larger network than you probably realize. Former casino marketing employees revealed that major casino corporations share information across all their properties. If you hit a jackpot at one of their casinos in Las Vegas, their sister casinos in other cities now know about it too. They know how much you won, they know what game you were playing, they know your betting patterns, they know your play history, they know your demographic information, and they're going to use this information to target you with offers designed to get you back in their doors. This data sharing is extensive. Former IT staff who worked on casino player tracking systems explained that major casino corporations have centralized databases that aggregate information across dozens of properties. Your player profile isn't just local anymore. It's now part of a national or even international network. Companies like MGM, Caesars, and others track your activity across their entire portfolio of properties, building increasingly sophisticated profiles of your gambling behavior, preferences, and value as a customer. You're going to start receiving mailers, free room offers, free play credits, invitations to special events, discounted or completely comped meals at their restaurants, birthday bonuses, anniversary rewards, exclusive tournament invitations. Why? Because statistics show that jackpot winners are likely to come back and gamble more. According to reports from former casino hosts, most jackpot winners end up giving a significant portion of their winnings back to the casino within weeks or months of winning. The data on this is remarkably consistent across different demographics and win amounts. Whether you won $2,000 or $200,000, you're statistically likely to return and gamble more than you would have if you'd never won. The casino knows this, their data proves it, so they're going to incentivize you to come back, make you feel special, treat you like a VIP, all with the goal of getting you to return and keep gambling. And it works. Former employees stated that they've seen countless people hit 5-figure or even 6-figure jackpots, only to come back repeatedly over the following months and lose it all plus more. Former casino hosts shared specific examples. A woman who won $40,000 on a slot machine and was back within a week, gambling with $1,000 spins. A retiree who hit a $75,000 progressive jackpot and over the next 6 months, lost not just the jackpot but an additional $30,000 from his retirement savings. A young man who won $15,000 and became convinced he was on a hot streak, eventually losing the entire amount plus $12,000 in credit card cash advances, all within a month. These stories are common, not exceptional. But there's another side to this that's even more calculated. According to insiders who worked in casino analytics departments, your jackpot win gets factored into complex algorithms that predict your future gambling behavior. They're building a profile of you. How much can you afford to lose? How often will you visit? What games do you prefer? What bet sizes are you comfortable with? How do you respond to wins versus losses? Are you the type who chases losses or walks away? Do you have impulse control or do you keep playing until your money is gone? Do you respond to free play offers or do you need bigger incentives? What time of day do you prefer to gamble? Do you come alone or with friends? Do you drink while gambling? All of this data gets used to optimize how they market to you, what offers they send you, and even how the casino floor is designed and managed. You're not just a person who won money, you're a data point in a massive system designed to maximize the casino's revenue. Former analytics directors explained that modern casino player tracking systems are incredibly sophisticated. They use machine learning algorithms, predictive modeling, and behavioral analysis techniques borrowed from retail and online marketing. They can predict with surprising accuracy how much you're worth to the casino over your lifetime. They can identify which offers are most likely to bring you back. They can even predict when you're likely to stop gambling and can intervene with targeted marketing at just the right moment to keep you engaged. Now here's something that former slot technicians really wanted people to understand about the machines themselves after a jackpot hits. The machine doesn't become due to pay out again just because it hit. It also doesn't become cold and unlikely to hit. Despite what many players believe, each spin is completely independent. The random number generator doesn't remember what happened on previous spins. The machine doesn't have a memory of recent outcomes. It doesn't have a quota of wins to hit or avoid. Every single spin is a separate event with the same odds as every other spin on that machine. But casinos are aware that players believe in hot and cold machines. And according to reports from former floor managers, they use this belief to their advantage. After a big jackpot hits on a machine, they know other players are going to flock to that machine or avoid it, depending on their personal superstitions. Some players think a machine that just paid out is hot and more likely to pay again. Others think it just exhausted its payout cycle and won't hit again for a long time. The casino doesn't care which belief you hold. They just care that you're playing. Former floor managers explained that they actually track foot traffic patterns around machines that have recently paid jackpots. They measure whether the machine gets more or less play in the hours and days following a big win. They use this information to optimize machine placement and even to decide which types of machines to feature in high-visibility locations. Here's something else that happens behind the scenes after a jackpot. Former technicians revealed that machines get inspected and serviced more frequently after paying out large wins. Not because there's anything wrong with them, but because it's part of their quality control process. They want to make sure the machine continues functioning correctly. They check error logs, they verify that the payout percentages are within regulatory requirements. They make sure everything is documented properly. They inspect physical components for wear or damage. They update firmware if necessary. They verify that security seals haven't been tampered with. This increased attention serves multiple purposes. It protects the casino from liability if subsequent problems arise with the machine, it ensures regulatory compliance, and it provides an opportunity to detect any issues that might have contributed to the jackpot win. And in some cases, according to insiders, if a particular machine seems to be paying out more than the casino expected based on its theoretical hold percentage, they might make adjustments, not to the random number generator itself, which is sealed and regulated, but they might change the denomination of the machine, or move it to a different location on the floor, or even replace it with a different game entirely. Former slot directors explained that while they can't legally alter the RNG or the fundamental odds of a machine, they have significant discretion in how machines are deployed. A penny machine that's paying out too much can be converted to a dollar machine, which naturally reduces play volume and increases hold percentage. A machine that's too generous can be moved from a high-traffic main floor location to a quieter area where it gets less action. These adjustments are subtle but effective ways for casinos to manage their slot floor performance without violating gaming regulations. Let's talk about something that most players never think about: taxes. We mentioned the W-2G form earlier, but former casino compliance workers revealed that the tax implications of a jackpot win go way beyond just filling out a form. That W-2G gets reported to the IRS. It's considered income. You're legally required to report it on your tax return. And depending on how much you won and what your overall income situation is, you could owe a substantial amount in taxes. For federal taxes alone, gambling winnings are taxed at your ordinary income rate, which could be as high as 37% depending on your total annual income. State taxes vary widely, but in states that tax gambling winnings, you could owe an additional 3 to 10% or more. This means a $20,000 jackpot could easily result in $7,000 to $9,000 in tax liability. But here's what really surprises people. According to statements from ex-employees who worked in casino accounting, you can't deduct your losses to offset your win unless you itemize deductions on your tax return and have detailed records of all your gambling activity throughout the year. Most casual players don't keep those records. They don't save losing tickets. They don't maintain detailed logs of their casino sessions. They don't document every spin, every hand, every race they bet on. So they win $5,000 on a slot machine, report it as income, and end up owing taxes on the full amount, even though they might have lost $3,000 earlier in the year. And even if you do itemize deductions and have perfect records, you can only deduct losses up to the amount of your winnings. If you won $5,000 but lost $8,000 over the course of the year, you can only deduct $5,000 of those losses, leaving you with a net loss of $3,000 that provides no tax benefit whatsoever. The casino knows most people don't understand this, and according to former casino hosts, they certainly don't go out of their way to explain it. Why would they? It's not their responsibility to provide tax advice, but it does mean that many jackpot winners end up with an unexpected tax bill months after their win, which can be financially stressful. Former casino employees described scenarios where winners who thought they'd scored a financial windfall ended up facing tax bills that consumed half or more of their winnings, leaving them disappointed and frustrated. Some winners don't set aside money for taxes, spend their entire jackpot, and then face penalties and interest from the IRS when they can't pay what they owe. This is particularly common with younger winners or people who aren't financially sophisticated. Now let's discuss something that former employees said casinos really don't want you thinking about: the actual odds of hitting a jackpot. For most slot machines, the odds of hitting the top jackpot are astronomically low. Some machines have odds of 1 in several million. Think about that for a moment. 1 in several million. You're more likely to be struck by lightning or attacked by a shark than to hit some of these jackpots. But casinos are required by law to display the theoretical return to player percentage in their help screens, which most players never look at. These help screens are buried in menus that require multiple button presses to access, displayed in small text, and written in technical language that many players don't fully understand. Former slot technicians revealed that these percentages are calculated over hundreds of thousands or even millions of spins. So while a machine might be set to return 94% to players over its lifetime, you personally might experience something completely different in your individual session. You might lose every spin for 2 hours straight, or you might hit 2 jackpots in 10 minutes. The math works out over time, but in the short term, anything can happen. This is what statisticians call variance. and it's what makes gambling feel random even though the long-term outcomes are mathematically predetermined. Former gaming mathematicians explained that slot machines are designed to have high variance, with big swings in both directions, because that creates excitement. Players wouldn't keep playing if they consistently lost small amounts, but if they occasionally win big, even if those wins are surrounded by long losing streaks, they stay engaged and keep gambling. And casinos design their slot floors around this understanding. According to reports from former casino designers, machines are placed strategically. The loosest machines, meaning those with the highest payout percentages, are often placed in high-traffic areas where lots of people can see them paying out. The tightest machines, with the lowest payout percentages, are often placed in areas where players are already committed to playing, like near hotel elevators or in areas away from main walkways. Former floor managers confirmed this strategy, explaining that machines near main entrances, main aisles, and food courts tend to have better payout rates because wins in these locations generate the most buzz and attract the most attention. Meanwhile, machines in isolated areas, near bathrooms, or in sections of the casino that are already filled with committed players can afford to be tighter because the players who find themselves there are already engaged and less likely to walk away. But back to what happens after your jackpot. Former employees emphasized that once you walk away from that casino with your winnings, your relationship with the casino has fundamentally changed. You're no longer just another anonymous player. You're in their system, they know who you are, they know what you like, they know what motivates you, and they're going to use that information. Your value to the casino has been quantified. You're no longer a potential customer, you're a known commodity with a calculated lifetime value. You'll notice that your player's card offers suddenly get better. Free room nights, higher comp rates on your play, invitations to special slot tournaments, premium drink vouchers, priority check-in privileges, VIP lounge access, personal hosts assigned to your account. According to insiders who worked in player development, this isn't generosity. It's calculated marketing based on your demonstrated value as a customer. You've proven you're willing to bet enough money to hit a significant jackpot. That makes you valuable to them. Former player development managers explained that they have sophisticated formulas for calculating how much to comp each player. The formula factors in your average bet size, hours played, games preferred, and theoretical loss. When you hit a jackpot, especially a large one, it signals to the casino that you have disposable income and a willingness to gamble with it. This makes you a prime target for retention marketing. But there's a darker side that former problem gambling counselors who worked with casinos mention. For some people, hitting a jackpot can trigger problematic gambling behavior. The rush of winning big can become addictive. People start chasing that feeling. They convince themselves that if they won once, they can win again. They start betting more than they can afford, visiting casinos more frequently, lying to family about their gambling. The neurochemistry of a big win is powerful. Dopamine floods the brain, creating a high that rivals some drugs. That high creates a memory that the brain constantly wants to recreate. Former addiction counselors described this as one of the most insidious aspects of jackpot wins. They can turn casual gamblers into problem gamblers by providing that one big reinforcement that convinces the person that winning big is not only possible but reproducible. Casinos are aware this happens. According to statements from ex-employees who worked in responsible gaming departments, they're required to have programs in place to help problem gamblers. But those programs are largely reactive, not proactive. They wait for someone to self-identify as having a problem, or for behavior to become so obvious that staff notices it. They don't actively screen jackpot winners for potential gambling addiction issues. Former responsible gaming officers admitted that casinos face a fundamental conflict of interest. Their business model depends on people gambling, but they're also supposed to protect people from gambling too much. This creates a situation where responsible gaming programs exist primarily to satisfy regulatory requirements and protect the casino from liability, not necessarily to aggressively intervene with at-risk players. The programs are there, but they're designed to be hard to access, to require the player to take the initiative, and to place the burden of responsibility entirely on the individual rather than on the casino's marketing machine. Here's another thing former employees wanted people to know. Not all jackpots are created equal. Progressive jackpots, where the prize pool grows over time as more people play, work differently than fixed jackpots. When someone hits a progressive, that jackpot resets to a base amount. Former technicians revealed that progressive machines are often linked across multiple casinos, sometimes even across different states. So when you're playing a progressive slot, you're competing against potentially thousands of other players for that top prize. These wide-area progressive networks are managed by gaming manufacturers like IGT, Aristocrat, or Scientific Games. The networks are sophisticated. Every bet from every connected machine feeds into the progressive pool, and the system must be able to instantly detect and verify a jackpot hit, no matter where it occurs. The odds of hitting a major progressive jackpot are incredibly slim. But casinos heavily promote these games because they generate excitement. People see the jackpot amount climbing into 6 or 7 figures and they can't resist trying for it. According to reports from former casino managers, progressive slots often have lower base game payout percentages than regular slots, because a portion of every bet goes toward funding that progressive jackpot. This means that while you're chasing that multi-million-dollar prize, you're actually getting worse odds on the regular paying combinations. Former slot analysts explained that a typical standalone slot might have a 94 or 95% return to player, while a wide area progressive might only return 88 or 89% on the base game, with the rest going into the progressive pool. So you're essentially accepting worse odds on small and medium wins in exchange for a chance at a massive prize that statistically you'll almost certainly never hit. Now, what happens if you hit one of these massive progressive jackpots? Former employees revealed that the process is similar but with additional steps. For very large jackpots, often over $100,000, the casino might not have enough cash on hand to pay you immediately. You'll receive a partial payment that day and the rest will come later, either as additional cash payments or as a structured payout over time. Former casino finance directors explained that most casinos maintain a certain amount of cash on hand for jackpot payouts, but that amount is limited. For multi-million-dollar progressives, the money actually comes from the gaming manufacturer that operates the progressive network, not from the casino itself. This means additional verification steps, coordination between multiple parties, and delays that can stretch for days or even weeks in extreme cases. Some major progressive jackpots are actually paid out as annuities, meaning you get a portion each year for 20 or 30 years rather than a lump sum. Former finance workers stated that casinos prefer this method for huge jackpots because it's better for their cash flow and reduces the immediate tax burden on the winner. But many winners don't realize this until after they've won, and it can be disappointing to learn you're not getting all your money right away. The fine print on progressive machines often specifies the payout structure, but almost nobody reads it before playing. Former casino hosts described angry confrontations with progressive winners who assumed they'd be getting a check for the full amount immediately, only to learn that they'd be receiving $50,000 a year for the next 20 years. While that's still life-changing money, it's psychologically different from receiving a multi-million-dollar lump sum. There's also something called a hand-paid jackpot, which according to former slot attendants is any win that's too large for the machine to pay out automatically. These require a staff member to manually pay you. And insiders revealed that when you get a hand pay, the casino is definitely paying closer attention to everything about that transaction. More paperwork, more verification, more scrutiny. The threshold for hand pay varies by jurisdiction and machine type, but it's typically around $1,200, which corresponds with the IRS reporting threshold. Former attendants explained that hand pays are actually fairly common, occurring dozens or even hundreds of times per day in a busy casino, but they still trigger the full verification process every single time. No exceptions. Let's talk about something that happens less frequently but is worth knowing about: disputed jackpots. Sometimes a machine malfunctions in a way that displays a jackpot, but the casino claims the win isn't valid. Former employees who dealt with these disputes said they can get ugly. Players obviously believe they won and deserve to be paid. Casinos point to the malfunction policy that's printed on every machine that says malfunction voids all pays and plays. The dispute often centers on technical issues that the player doesn't understand and can't independently verify. Former technicians described situations where a display glitch showed a jackpot that the internal logs proved never actually occurred, or where a progressive meter displayed an inflated amount due to a communication error, or where someone hit the right combination but the machine paid out 100 times what it should have due to a software bug. These disputes sometimes go to gaming regulators, sometimes they end up in court. And according to reports from former gaming compliance officers, the casino almost always wins these cases because the law is on their side. If a machine malfunctioned, they don't have to pay. But determining whether a machine truly malfunctioned versus just paying out a win, the casino doesn't want to honor can be complicated. Gaming regulators have forensic tools to analyze machine data, error logs, and security footage. They can usually determine what actually happened. But the process takes time, and in the meantime, the player is in limbo. No money, no certainty, and often significant legal expenses if they choose to fight. Here's something really important that former employees stressed. If you ever find yourself in a situation where the casino is claiming your jackpot isn't valid, don't leave. Don't accept their initial answer. Ask to speak to a supervisor. Ask for documentation of the supposed malfunction. Request that gaming regulators be contacted to verify the machine's status. Take photos and videos if possible. Get names of everyone you speak with. Write down everything that's said. Note the exact time everything happened. Former regulators advise that your best chance of prevailing in a dispute is to document everything meticulously from the moment the casino first questions your win. Most importantly, don't let them intimidate you into walking away from a legitimate win. According to insiders, casinos know that most players will eventually give up if they push back hard enough. They have lawyers, they have experience with disputes, they know the regulations better than you do, but if you're persistent and your win was legitimate, you have rights. Gaming regulations exist to protect players as much as casinos. Former attorneys who worked on gaming disputes emphasize that while casinos win most malfunction cases, they don't win all of them. If you have a legitimate case, if the evidence supports your position, and if you're willing to fight, you can prevail. But it requires persistence, documentation, and often legal representation. Now here's something about casino culture that former employees observed. When a big jackpot hits, especially on the main floor, there's often a mixture of genuine excitement and hidden frustration among staff. Dealers, floor supervisors, and other employees are usually happy for winners on a personal level. But they also know that big jackpots affect the casino's bottom line, which can influence everything from their hours to their tips to their job security. Former dealers explained that their income depends partly on player tips, and counterintuitively, big jackpots don't always result in more tips for staff. Some winners are generous, but others become tight-fisted with their windfall, and the celebration around a jackpot can actually distract players from tipping on other games. According to statements from former dealers and floor staff, there's sometimes an unspoken tension when whales or high rollers hit huge wins, because management might tighten budgets or crack down on comps for other players to make up for the loss. It's not the player's fault, obviously, but it creates a complicated dynamic. Former casino managers admitted that monthly or quarterly performance targets don't adjust for lucky jackpots. If the casino pays out $1 million progressive, they still need to hit their revenue numbers, which means cutting costs elsewhere or pushing staff to generate more play from remaining customers. Something else worth mentioning is that casinos keep incredibly detailed records of every jackpot ever paid out. Former data analysts who worked for casinos revealed that they track trends over time. Which machines pay out most frequently? Which time of day sees more jackpots? Which types of players are hitting them? What was the player doing before the jackpot? Were they increasing bet size, playing longer than usual, switching games frequently? All of this data gets analyzed to optimize the casino floor and maximize revenue. Former analytics directors described massive databases containing decades of jackpot data with sophisticated analysis tools that can identify patterns that humans would never notice. This data informs decisions about which games to buy, where to place them, how to set denominations, and how to structure the overall slot floor layout. And here's something that might surprise you. According to reports from former casino executives, the house still makes money even when they pay out jackpots. The math is designed so that over time, the total amount wagered across all players on all machines will always exceed the total paid out in winnings. An individual jackpot might hurt that day's numbers, but over weeks, months, and years, the casino always comes out ahead. Former casino CFOs explained that jackpots are actually built into their financial models. They know statistically how often major wins will occur. They budget for it. They plan for it. $1 million jackpot might seem devastating, but when you're taking in hundreds of millions in annual slot revenue, it's just a predictable cost of doing business. This is why casinos can afford to celebrate jackpot wins with you. They're not actually worried about the money. They know the system is rigged in their favor, not through cheating, but through mathematics. Every game in the casino has a house edge. Given enough time and enough players, that edge ensures the casino makes money. Former gaming mathematicians broke down the numbers. If a slot machine has a 5% house edge and processes $100 in bets per hour for 20 hours a day, that machine generates $1,000 in revenue per day for the casino. Multiply that across hundreds or thousands of machines, and you see why an occasional $50,000 jackpot barely registers in the overall financial picture. Former employees wanted people to understand that casinos aren't evil for operating this way. They're businesses, they're providing entertainment, and some people do walk away winners. But the fundamental truth is that the odds are against you. Always. The casino knows this. Their entire business model depends on it. Former casino executives were candid about this in internal meetings, according to whistleblowers. They talk openly about players as revenue sources, about optimizing time on device, about maximizing player reinvestment rates, which is industry jargon that essentially means getting winners to gamble their winnings back into the casino. It's calculated, it's data-driven, and it's remarkably effective. So what should you do if you actually hit a jackpot? Based on advice from former casino workers, here are some practical tips. First, stay calm. Don't make a huge scene. The more attention you draw, the more likely you are to become a target for criminals. Former security officers emphasize this point. Criminals are watching for reactions. If you start screaming and jumping up and down, you've just announced to everyone in the casino that you've won significant money. Celebrate quietly, be happy, but don't advertise your win to strangers. Second, verify everything. Count your money carefully, check all paperwork, make sure the amounts match. Don't trust that the casino got it right. Mistakes happen, and you're responsible for catching them before you sign anything. Former attendants admitted that counting errors occur more often than casinos would like to admit. Sometimes it's honest mistakes, sometimes it's player misunderstandings, but occasionally it's deliberate shortchanging. Verify everything yourself. Third, consider your safety. If you won a large amount, consider asking for security escort to your car or having the casino arrange transportation. Don't walk through dark parking garages alone with thousands of dollars in cash. Don't flash money around. Don't discuss your win with strangers. Former security directors described follow-home robberies where criminals tracked winners from the casino to their residences. In some cases, organized theft rings station lookouts in casino parking lots specifically to identify and target jackpot winners. Take security seriously. Fourth, think about the money logically. According to former casino hosts, the worst thing you can do is immediately start playing again with your winnings. The adrenaline is high, you're feeling lucky, and that's exactly when you're most likely to make poor decisions. Walk away, take a break, come back another day if you want to gamble more. Former players who learned this lesson the hard way described losing entire jackpots within hours of winning them, caught up in the excitement and convinced their hot streak would continue. It rarely does. Fifth, understand the tax implications. Talk to a tax professional. Don't wait until next April to figure out what you owe. Set aside money immediately to cover your tax liability. Former accountants who specialized in gambling taxation recommended setting aside at least 30% of any jackpot win for taxes. More if you're in a high tax bracket or live in a state with high income taxes. Don't spend the entire amount and find yourself unable to pay the IRS when tax season arrives. And sixth, be prepared for the casino's marketing. You're going to get offers, you're going to get phone calls, you're going to get mailers. Decide now how you want to handle that attention. Some people appreciate the offers and take advantage of free rooms and meals. Others find it intrusive and annoying. Former marketing directors explained that you can request to be removed from marketing lists, but casinos make that process difficult. They require written requests, they process them slowly, and sometimes they accidentally continue sending offers anyway. If you don't want the attention, be prepared to be persistent in opting out. Former problem gambling counselors emphasized one more thing. If you find yourself thinking about that jackpot constantly, dreaming about winning again, making plans to visit the casino more often, or betting more than you can afford in hopes of recreating that feeling, those are warning signs. Gambling should be entertainment, not a source of income or emotional fulfillment. If you're hiding gambling losses from family, borrowing money to gamble, missing work or social obligations to gamble, or feeling anxious or depressed when you're not gambling, you may be developing a problem. Former counselors emphasize that problem gambling often starts with a big win. That first major jackpot can fundamentally alter how your brain perceives gambling, making it harder to walk away in the future. The reality is that most people who hit jackpots don't walk away winners in the long run. The casino knows this, their data proves it, and that's why they're so willing to celebrate with you when you win, because they're confident they'll get that money back eventually, plus more. Former casino executives admitted in candid moments that jackpot winners are among their best customers. They've proven they have disposable income. They've proven they're willing to gamble with significant sums. They've experienced the thrill of a big win, which creates a psychological hook that brings them back. From the casino's perspective, a jackpot winner isn't a loss. It's an investment in a customer who's statistically very likely to generate far more revenue over time than the jackpot cost. Subscribe for more casino secrets.